I'm Brad Castle, pastor of the Tampa First Seventh-day Adventist Church and co-president of Hope. April 20 would have been the 31st year of Hope holding Nehemiah Actions. Our congregations were busy working to unite the power of 1,400 brothers and sisters of different faiths, races, and economic backgrounds from across Hillsborough County to achieve justice. We were motivated to exercise our power to hold local decision makers accountable for more affordable housing, adequate mental health services, and policies that prevent people from being trapped in the criminal justice system. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic has only exacerbated people's dire situations. How will thousands of people pay high rents when laid off of jobs? How will people with behavioral health issues cope in a time of limited services? How can people in crowded jails or living on the streets be safe? Our justice ministry works to achieve long-term solutions to protect people's lives and dignity. And we need justice ministry now more than ever. That's why Hope's issue committees and board have been busy meeting virtually over the past 2 months. Despite our inability to unite 1,400 people physically now, our 22 congregations remain committed to achieving justice and challenging Pharaoh's narrative of scarcity, fear, and despair. We will now hear a reflection on the importance of maintaining justice, updates from our 2 issue committees, and our next steps.
Thank you, Pastor Castle. My name is Anthony White, pastor of Bible-Based Fellowship Church and co-president of Hope. I want you to imagine with me that it is Palm Sunday, as we celebrated it a few weeks ago. But I want you to imagine it because I want you to see that Jesus, on more than one occasion, was confronting the unjust economic systems of his day. And so on that Sunday, as he got on the donkey and rode into Jerusalem, the crowds were shouting, "Hosanna, Lord, save us." They knew that he could, that he had the power. He had demonstrated that he was, that he represented everything that was opposite the poverty and injustice, the things that they had experienced. And so they anticipated this change. They were eager. The energy was high. And as Jesus comes and rides into Jerusalem early in the week, he does enter into Jerusalem, into the temple. And when he enters into the temple, that's when his anger moves him with passion and compassion to overturn tables and to drive out money changers and to cry, "My Father's house shall be called a house of prayer." And Jesus was moved because they had turned his Father's house into a den of thieves. It is this same compassion and passion and anger that moves us today to overturn the tables of injustice in our very own communities. Isaiah 56:1, there God calls us to maintain justice and to do what is right. And although we cannot physically gather in large numbers as we would like, we can still do this. We are called to do this by strengthening our relationships and checking in on one another, caring for each other, and engaging in our virtual meetings, building the power of our justice networks and ministries. We can and we must maintain justice, doing what is right, so that we might usher in God's beloved kingdom on earth. Pastor Castle is right. We need justice now more than ever. God bless you.
Hi, I am Charlotte, a parishioner of Nativity Catholic Church. You may recall that in September 2019, Hope finally convinced the county commissioners to pass the Hope Affordable Housing Act to establish an affordable housing fund of at least $10 million annually. You were why this happened. Because when we united over 1,200 people at our Nehemiah Actions, the county commissioners knew we were serious. Add that to the tenacious 50 to 75 Hope members from the congregations that continue to show up in the purple shirts at Board of County Commissioner meetings, public hearings, and individual meetings with stakeholders. All of this brought us the victory. This exercise of our power transformed the idea of a solution into a legal reality. This was a historic step in the right direction for our community, and yet, working families and seniors with very low incomes continue to struggle to find affordable, decent housing in Hillsborough County. Yes, Hillsborough County has an ongoing housing crisis, and the COVID-19 has drastically revealed the long-standing inequities and vulnerabilities that the very low-income residents have been experiencing. This is the unfortunate reality Hope has been exposing for years. Over 200,000 families in Hillsborough County cannot afford where they live, and it is only getting worse. Over 100,000 families spend at least half their income on housing. 75,000 of these families have incomes under $33,000. These families, they work as our teachers' aides and nurses' aides, grocery store workers, janitors, and as other service industry workers that are vital to our community. Our goal is to enrich and uplift the county by ensuring quality, affordable housing is available for those who need it the most, because everyone deserves a place to call home. Housing that families can afford is an issue of livelihood, as well as a public health and safety issue. Not having a home or living in crowded and substandard apartments and houses makes it impossible to shelter at home, and everyone needs a place to safely shelter at home, now and in the future. Affordable housing provides stability for low-income families, helping children succeed in school. All of these things are extremely important to our community, and we want you to be aware of how this works. The county manages the $10 million that was placed in the Hope Fund for the 2020-2021 budget years, and they will disperse monies through a request for proposal process to companies who will create, rehab, and preserve a multifamily developments and single-family houses affordable for families with low and very low incomes. We, your Hope Affordable Housing Committee, are actively monitoring the implementation of the Hope Fund by meeting with county commissioners and other stakeholders to observe the disbursement and tracking of the funds. We want to know specifically how and for what the funds are used, and the impact of the funds, needed accountability, so that the funds can create quality housing that is affordable for very low families. Because Hope proclaimed this story of love, hope, and abundance, and we kept building our power, our county can now protect the dignity of hundreds of families in our community, and we will continue to make our presence known until this happens. Thank you.
I am Sheila Simmons-Tribble, a member of Bible-Based Fellowship Church in Carrollwood. As Shaw stated earlier, our current housing crisis threatens the stability of our community, the livelihood of its residents, the future of our children, and the public health and safety of our communities. Here's why it's important for us to continue to make our presence known. We want to continue to identify and share stories of the ongoing need for decent housing, especially for working families and seniors with incomes below $33,000. We want the county to use the $10 million Hope Fund to leverage additional funding sources to create over 500 additional units annually while meeting and exceeding commitments to very low income families. We want to establish baseline data to measure and quantify housing needs, goals, and results. We need the county commissioners to establish a clear and understandable format to report to the public on the use of the Hope Fund, including number of units and percent used for low and very low income families. Now, here's what you can do. As we develop awareness and education materials, you can share them through your justice ministry networks, your congregations and communities, so that everyone is informed and engaged in our push for more affordable housing. The more you are aware of the housing crisis and the Hope Fund, the more likely the fund will continue to exist and serve its purpose of providing quality, affordable housing in our county. You can respond to any future action steps to hold decision makers accountable to create, rehab, and preserve affordable housing. Yes, we are better together. And together we can enrich and uplift our county by ensuring to lead the charge for affordable housing and be the voice for the voiceless and for those who need it the most, low-income families. Everyone deserves a place to live. Thank you.
Powell Jackson, the pastor of First United Church of Tampa and chair of Hope's Criminal Justice Committee. Imagine searching for your son in parks, under highway passes, in the streets, and he's nowhere to be found. He has schizophrenia. You finally find him in the county jail, and he has not been taking his medicine or eating. He's almost unrecognizable, even to you. Or imagine you're a single mom, you are homeless, jobless, and staying at Metropolitan Ministries. One day the police come and arrest you in front of your daughter because you couldn't pay 2 traffic tickets. You spend 2 nights in jail because you can't afford the bail. These are just a couple of the heartbreaking stories that we heard last fall in our listening meetings. Because of these stories, at our October convention, 375 of us voted to continue working in the area of criminal justice and behavioral health. We have been meeting with decision makers and experts to learn more about the problems and their possible solutions. Every day, 40% of the people in our county jail, that's 1,200 people, have a serious mental health diagnosis. And 80%, or 2,400 people, have both mental health and addiction diagnoses. Supportive services and employment for people with serious mental health diagnoses are few and far between. So emergency rooms and Baker Act facilities and jail are revolving doors. We must break this crisis cycle. Our jail should not be our biggest mental health facility.
In our 2019 Nehemiah Action, we pushed Tampa Police Chief Dugan to train his officers in Crisis Intervention Training, or CIT, so law enforcement is equipped with the knowledge and tools needed to identify mental illness symptoms, to de-escalate the situation, and take the person in crisis to an appropriate service. He would not commit at the action, but after several follow-up meetings, Chief Dugan committed to train all 1,000 police officers in CIT and started training early this year. At our 2019 action, we also got commitments from criminal justice stakeholders to go on a special tour with Hope leaders to the Vincent House in Pinellas County. This is a recovery through work program for people with severe mental illness. It has over a 60% success rate in gaining and maintaining real employment, and it gives people a positive social support network. After 2 tours, the county and a behavioral health service provider began renovating a facility south of the Home Depot on Florida Avenue for a Hillsborough County recovery through work program. They anticipate serving 300 people once completed. We continue to monitor Chief Dugan's commitment to train all officers in CIT and the county's establishment of the Recovery Through Work program.
We've also been researching ways to reduce adult arrests and have learned that in 2017, over 42,000 driver's licenses were suspended in Hillsborough County because of failure to pay traffic tickets. Over half of these suspensions were in just 2 zip codes, 33610 and 33612. Driver's license suspensions cause a downward spiral of job loss and economic instability. This forces people to make an impossible choice: stop driving and lose access to work, childcare, healthcare, food, and other necessities, or keep driving and risk criminal charges and even more unaffordable fines and fees. Pinellas County's Adult Civil Citation Program has 2 screenings to divert anyone who may have been eligible for a civil citation but instead got arrested or issued a notice to appear. In 2017, the 2 screenings alone helped to protect the future of at least 200 people. We don't have that protection in Hillsborough County. We will continue to research ways to reduce adult arrests for minor offenses.
As you may know, HOPE collaborates on criminal justice issues with 10 other adult justice organizations in Florida. We work together to stop the arrest of children for minor offenses by increasing the use of juvenile civil citations across the state. Civil citations discipline children who make mistakes while preventing arrest records that follow them the rest of their lives. Because of our work, 23,000 children have not been arrested across Florida, with about 800 children not being arrested annually in Hillsborough County. Florida Senate Bill 1392 that we helped to pass requires law enforcement to state why they arrested a child when eligible for a civil citation. Last year, 5,886 children who were eligible for a civil citation were arrested. But for 4,259 of those cases, no reason available or provided was the reason that was given. That's not a reason. Last year in Hillsborough County, no reason was provided for 325 children who were eligible for a civil citation but were instead arrested. That's not a reason. This is unacceptable, and it violates the law. We want the Department of Juvenile Justice to ensure a legitimate reason is reported by removing this option or having it automatically become a civil citation. Because of the emails that we have already sent, almost 250 of them from HOPE alone, we have a tentative date set to meet with the DJJ secretary. We'll keep you posted and let you know how your actions make a difference.
While we are not together at our Nehemiah Action this year, God's call to do justice remains. Doing justice doesn't happen only at the Nehemiah Action. It is the year-long relational work of building our justice ministries so we can do justice year after year. In moments of crisis, we gain clarity on what is most important to us: a home to keep us safe, access to education and healthcare, keeping people out of jail, and most importantly, relationships of love and compassion. Love can't turn a blind eye. When 700 families are evicted monthly because of an inability to pay, or when our jail is full of people with mental illness and addiction. Love compels us to listen to the problems in our community, lift up these stories, and powerfully act together to right what is wrong. Let's continue to find ways to stay connected and build our justice ministries. Let's keep each other in our prayers, help each other as we can, stir up the passion for justice in our hearts, and raise our voices when necessary. The call to do justice is louder than ever before. We will continue to respond to it. Thank you, everyone, for your hard work. Thank you for sending email to the DJJ. We will keep in touch with you on calendar for the rest of the year. Remember, let's do justice.